building, please welcome Professor Rilwan Ameen.
Oh my God, Professor, it's really you.
How's it going, guys? How are you, ladies and gents?
February is Black History Month in the United States. Professor Rilwan wants to stress out that this month is more than just empty quotes and slogans. Please tell us what you have to bring to the Oval.
Hey, thank you for having me today, guys. I really appreciate this.
I
just want to say that, yeah, I think Black History Month often gets, you know, in terms of the media, this desensitized version of empty quotes and slogans and Instagram posts. And for these 28 days, this is when most people are so awoken to the struggles and issues of African Americans in this country. And I don't think that it should be just limited to February, but I think there is a need for Black History Month overall. And I think that's something that people often forget. And I think when Carter G. Woodson initially had Black History Month in 1929, it was initially known as Negro History Week. And then if you think about it, so it was just a week. And then President Ford enacted it into being Black History Month in 1976. So if you think about when the Declaration of Independence was signed, that's just 200 years later. And you know, there was a time in this country where people were considered 3/5 of a person. So that just goes to show you the short timeline of recognition of African Americans in this country. So if you think about 200 years, outside of the United States is only 240 years old. So that's a 40-year gap. So that's a very short time. So I think that it's very prevalent, and especially in today's day and age, with everything that's going on, especially with the 13th Amendment, the new Jim Crow. You know, we have the Black Lives Matter movement. So I think that it's very important to highlight this and note this.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah. Wow. So with our, do you guys have any questions for Professor Rilwan about the shortest month of Black History? How do you guys feel about that? I mean,
first of all, this month is the shortest, and it's all award ceremonies that make us forget that it's Black History Month. I'm sorry. Like, if you're gonna throw an award ceremony every other weekend, then you need to have something up there about Black History Month.
I feel like Black History Month should be every month. And because there's so much going on, I think we should be acknowledged for the whole year.
They ain't gonna give us every month.
I mean, that would be nice to have it every month, you know, that would be.
And I agree with Talea's sentiment, especially because in today's society, most people tend to look at celebrities and athletes as forms of inspiration. But if you really look at a lot of the figures throughout African American history who don't necessarily get the recognition that they deserve. So, you know, I often think that while Dr. Martin Luther King was a great man and, you know, he did a lot for the struggle, I do think that there are more figures outside of just him and Rosa Parks who contributed.
Who's your favorite figure?
It's tough because most recently I've been enlightened about James Baldwin, as well as Malcolm X is, I would probably say if I had one figure, I would choose Malcolm X. But between him, James Baldwin, Coretta Scott King was pretty good. There's Arthur Ashe. There's so many. There's so many figures to choose from. That
I love Ida B. Wells.
How about Marcus Garvey?
I think Marcus Garvey often is, like, I always say he's the father of the African American struggle in this country, because what many people don't know is that Malcolm X's father was actually a Garveyite, and he was greatly influenced by his teachings. And I don't want to get too controversial, but he got deported to Jamaica in the 1920s, and at the time he had a huge following in the country. So I think that kind of set the African American community back as equally as the assassinations of Dr. King and Malcolm X in the 60s.
So if you had a wish right now and you would go to Washington, D.C. and talk to Donald Trump, I know I'm mentioning his name again. President Trump, would you like have a choice to ask him if they could change the Black History Month into, would you do that? I mean, honestly, if we had a march and say, I think, because our voices are so powerful, I think if we had a march and everyone got together, I think it would happen. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree with the aspect that Claudine said of people coming together, because if you look at the Women's March, I think maybe 2 months ago. It seems like
barely,
barely, right? You saw the power of people invoking their voice, and you saw the spirit of coming together. I think that I think Black History Month is appropriate for where it is. Obviously, being the shortest month in the calendar year is unfortunate, but I do think that it's important, especially at the younger age, to learn about figures that have contributed greatly. I think that oftentimes we get this kind of distorted view of Black History Month as youth, whereas we don't appreciate it as much. But I feel like when you get older, for example, learning more about what Dr. Woodson's initial thought was in Negro History Week, it was basically to highlight the achievements that people weren't getting credit for at the time. So if you could imagine 1929, just imagine the climate in the country at that time. Up until 2017, we watched the Oscars yesterday. We saw many figures within the African community definitely, taking home awards and major awards at that. So I think that it's imperative for us now as the people with more resources and more of a knowledge base to learn about these things and get informed and inform others as well.
So in terms of like Black History Month, what is like your stance on like, 'cause I was just gonna bring that up about like youth and stuff, because you know I totally blanked on his name, but Martin Luther King had a gay
Binary Weston.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, you know, and I literally just learned about him in Alvarez's class, like coming to college. And like you said, in terms of, you know, when you get older, you learn about Black History Month and you're like into it. But then, you know, when you go to elementary school or like middle school, what are you gonna learn about History Month? You're gonna color Martin Luther King. Like that's what you do. And like, so I just want to know your stance on like, in terms of like, in like younger minds and stuff.
It's great that you asked that, Jasmine, because I think that the educational system needs to be completely revamped and overhauled as far as when you're younger, learning about the true history and nature of these things, right? So I think that it's inappropriate for you to get to a college level and then to be learning about these things. But I feel like most people in this country, they don't learn about true history until they get to the college level.
Even here, we are forced to take a certain amount of histories, but ALS classes is not one of the primary courses to take, which I think is very important because all we are taught in school is white history. That's it. They never talk about Black history, and when they do, they only mention Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. But Rosa Parks wasn't the first one to sit down and not want to get up. There was plenty of other people that did it, but you know, she just became the face of that movement.
And I love that point that you bring up, Talia, because I think that oftentimes we get this view of Martin Luther King as being, oh, this passive gentleman. Well, Martin Luther King was getting arrested at all of these rallies, but they don't show that imagery, right? You know, even someone like Tupac Shakur, who highlighted a lot of things that are happening in today's society. He highlighted, and you know, he got this view as, oh, you know, he promotes gang violence and thug life, but you're missing the true message of his meaning. And I think that oftentimes with a lot of figures like that who are promoting, you know, resistance and not resistance in terms of just violence, but resistance of opening your mind, see what's really going on in society. You know, not waiting to the next person becomes a hashtag to you know, take up activism. And I think that especially within your generation is very important because you guys are the new baby boomers. You know, millennials are the new baby boomers. So 20, 30, 40 years from now, when most of you will be in your 60s, you'll be looking back at this time, and you know, you will all write the history of this time. You know.
Think about that.
And in that case, so
I just wanted to say that yesterday was 5 years for Trayvon Martin, and it would have been nice if the Oscars would have said something about that, you know, a little platform about that.
I remember when Trayvon Martin passed away, and at the Oscars, Common mentioned it about. Well, I'm sorry, not Trayvon Martin, but Mike Brown. He mentioned about Ferguson, and it was like literally the only time in the night where someone brought up that social issue. I think, you know, even to Jesse Williams's BET Award speech, I think that celebrities, they definitely have the platform to, you know, bring, you know, because people don't like to be uncomfortable. You know, people like to stay within their comfort zones. But I think, especially in this day and age, you need to bring that to people, get people out of their comfort zone, because it's important for dialogue and conversation.
So I love how you actually like taught all this? Because I really didn't really know too much about that till now about the shortest Black History Month, which I know, but to add on. But shifting gears a little, what was how did you feel about the final thought of our discussions that we had earlier?
Okay. So I would say, as far as the transgendered bathroom law, the teen law, you know, it's unfortunate because you would hate to see the White House, you know, who has the power to put a stop to this. You know, anyone who identifies as whatever classification, they should have the right to use the bathroom in peace, you know, not have to worry about being discriminated against. You know, recently the NBA, they recently banned the All-Star game from Charlotte because Charlotte, North Carolina, Charlotte's a major city in North Carolina, which, you know, they have this transgender bathroom law where, so the NBA said, you know what, this is not right. We're gonna take the game from Charlotte and move it to New Orleans. So I think it's great to see a sports league taking up a proactive measure that way in support of the transgender community. If a sports league can do it, why not the White House? You know, it just doesn't, you know, it just doesn't.
I think the Super Bowl, like the NFL was like, if you pass this law, there will be no more Super Bowl.
Wow.
Right. I remember seeing an article about that. I was like, wow.
It's like moving backwards. I don't get it. That's like
it's very sad.
When they had told, you know, whites pee here, black pee here. Now we're going back and we're telling people that they can't pee because they were born female, but they identify as a male.
Right, and
using the bathroom. It's such a basic necessity that we're denying.
A basic human right.
Maybe we should all just start using the bathroom
on this very
floor.
Is this what you want?
Is this what you want? You're gonna pee right here on the White House lawn.
And on this very campus, we have gender-neutral bathrooms. It may have taken a long time to enact, but you know, if a college campus, which has a wide range of different types of students, you know, if they can cater to it, why can't the leader of the free world cater to transgender people? One thing about what Jasmine said, I think it's important to note that when you threaten to take away commerce from an institution, then you'll see some level of change, right? So if you say, you know what, if every transgendered person in this country says, we're not going to eat at your establishment, we're not going to put money into your business or your economy, you will see how fast.
Yeah, you got to hit them at the pockets.
You have to hit the pockets.
Thank you so much. Do you have anything to say about our show? Like,
yeah,
how do you like our
I'm a fan of the Oval. Sorry, it took me a while to come on, but I love to see students, you know, definitely taking up, you know, extracurricular activities that will help you to prepare for the real world. And you guys all put this together. So I would definitely, you know, your crew, your production, you guys as on-air talent, I definitely give you a round of applause because
thank you.
yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to do this.
Very happy.
You guys are here on a Monday night doing it. So
During midterms.
Okay.
during midterms, so enjoy midterms. Don't stress out too much.
All right. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us from me and my lovely co-host. Thank you for watching The Oval.